It is essential ingredient of any long-term strategic international policy, especially with the neighbors. At times, but geography decides historical developments. And that reality is very much between India and Pakistan. What Mr. Raza says, I entirely agree with him, that they are in the process, there are institutions in Pakistan which are making us bleed on our borders, especially on not only in borders, but the spread of terrorism. I'm not going into all the details for positive time.
Why are you again giving Nawaz Sharif a clean sheet? How do you not know? Do you not know the history of Kargil, sir? Why are you giving the Pakistan
Kargil has happened, we all know. Our armed forces brought
Mr. Tripathi,
let me complete my sentence.
Just go back and turn the clock. Yeah. I say 7 months, Mr. Tripathi, right? There was unanimity in holding Pakistan responsible during the beheading incident in January across party lines, including yours. Pakistan denied absolutely any role. Entirely. In this case, we have given them, the government of India has given them an excellent opportunity to question the credibility of our claims. And Hina Rabbani Khar is not a Pakistani general. Hina Rabbani Khar is not the Pakistan army. Hina Rabbani Khar made that ridiculous, shameless comment when she said, any statement from billions of Indians does not deserve a response. She said that. Now that's not Pakistani army. Mr. Tripathi, who will believe you if you say, the Pakistan army is responsible? We should keep having lunch with Nawaz Sharif.
Said that their essence of strategic policy is conflict, not conflict resolution. And ours, as a democratic system...
With whom are you trying to resolve conflict? No, one second, Seshadri Chari is responding to you, Mr. Tripathi.
I really want to know from all these politicians who are talking about this. They can easily accuse the opposition saying that they are warmongers. They can say the media is trying to create trouble and foment trouble and sensitize the issue. But the most important issue is, whom are you talking to? If you are talking to the army, it's a different case.
Yes.
Are you talking to the political establishment? Here is the Prime Minister of Pakistan who was said that he made friendship with India a political issue, an election issue, and won on that basis. And here is also a Prime Minister who has not issued a single statement about this incident for the last 4 days. Don't tell me that the Prime Minister of Pakistan does not know about this. It is only today that he has issued a statement, and even that statement does not
Today he has issued a statement because he was
yesterday the PMO officials denied anything, and it said that there were mischievous reports of the PMO's involvement in it, which itself I find strange because the National Security Advisor, Foreign Secretary Sujata Singh, Shiv Shankar Menon, DGMO, Defence Ministry officers were all there vetting the statement. This statement, the wrong statement of Antony, was vetted according to sources by Sujata Singh, Foreign Secretary, and NSA Shiv Shankar Menon.
And PMO is directly involved in this.
Yeah, so this, what do we learn? What do we learn here? The question is, Mr. KC Singh, we go back to Sharm el-Sheikh. 7 months after 26/11, under a Congress-led government, under Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, that act of so-called magnanimity happened when we let Pakistan off. Is this as big as that?
Arnab, this is anxiety to negotiate, anxiety to settle disputes. And I think you never should deal with a complex neighboring country out of great anxiety to settle things with them. Now, any informed columnist in India, every informed strategic analyst has been saying ever since the elections took place in Pakistan, let's wait and see how Nawaz Sharif rebalances the relationship with the jihadis whose support he has taken to win the election, and with the army with whom he has a difficult relationship, because they are the ones who banished him, and he's got Musharraf jailed there and under trial. Therefore, until you see him rebalance the relationships, simply taking his word, when you say the Deputy High Commissioner of Pakistan came in, he must have come in with a message saying it'll become very difficult for Nawaz Sharif to deal with the situation if you escalate it at this end. Now, that is not the way to deal with Pakistan. You have to have your red lines. You keep the door open. Now, the argument that Congress gives is that anyone who says be cautious is a warmonger.
Yes.
Now, it is not warmongering to say deal with them with your eyes open, wait, have patience, see how their domestic situation pans out. What is the leverage that Nawaz Sharif has? I would have seen Nawaz Sharif as an appropriate interlocutor if within hours of the incident, he had picked up the phone, spoken to the Indian Prime Minister and said, Prime Minister, I'll have my government, my army inquire into it. We haven't done it. Our army says they haven't done it. but I think it merits an inquiry. No, they said nothing has happened. There are 20 people who come from Pakistan, cross a fence, kill, go back into Pakistan, and the picket doesn't even know about it. Pakistan army doesn't even know about it. I mean,
Mr. Gowda, the bottom line is this. Let there be no doubt about it. Your government, vis-a-vis Pakistan, looks, I'm sorry to say, spineless and very, very weak. Now, we want to know the reason, the compelling reason behind the weakness.
Anxiety.
The weakness.
Yeah.
The weakness that your government is displaying vis-a-vis Pakistan, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, Sharm el-Sheikh and this. Every year, Mr. Gowda, tonight I will present you one example, if you want, of the weakness that has been shown by your government. We want to know what is it that makes your government so weak, perhaps the weakest government in upholding national interest vis-a-vis Pakistan. Why, Mr. Gowda? Why?
Arnab, why did you stop with just the last 4, 5, 6 years? Why don't you go back to the last 10, 15 years and see how every government has dealt with this kind of an issue? These issues have to be dealt with.
You don't want to talk about the 4, 5, 6 years? Because I'll tell you, I'll talk post 2611. Post 2611 you did Sharm el-Sheikh. Right? In January 2009 they rejected it. They warned your government. The Pakistan government warned Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, you make allegations and there will be no serious and objective investigations into the incident.
No,
after 2611. No, watch it. Your Prime Minister softened, the Prime Minister softened his line. They sent you another warning in 2010. They warned you in 2011. They mocked you in 2012. And yet your Prime Minister, knowing, the Prime Minister of India knows that there has been no progress into 2611. I am asking you, why is the Prime Minister so weak vis-a-vis Pakistan? Why?
But this mindset has
Why?
been there throughout.
No, I want an explanation on why.
Even in Simla, they did the same thing in 71. Mr. Gowda wants to go back, let's go back.
We need a peaceful neighborhood, right? So let us work out arrangements in such a manner that we get there. If the Pakistani army is intending to destabilize any chance of peace, okay, then, yeah. Then we need to be careful.
Mr. Gowda, I'm afraid you're going to get some strong reactions to this. Maruf first.
Let me just educate Mr. Gowda, sir, if I can have the liberty of doing that. You talk of a peaceful neighborhood.
You know what?
In
whatever
the last
you said earlier was
3 to 4
nothing new,
years,
Mr.
you have
Maruf.
ruined relations with everybody in the neighborhood.
Including
You've
Bhutan.
taken Sri Lanka out of your friendship loop by getting the UN to sanction Sri Lanka for human rights abuses. You had Bangladesh ready to go in for a deal, but Mamata Banerjee hijacked it, or whatever the reasons. You don't have... Bangladesh's current government has done more to support India in the last 2 years than perhaps any government has done. And you've given them nothing to take to the polls next year.
Is that the only answer?
I'll say Bhutan, your one friend and the neighbor, and you've kind of painted them into the corner. Look at today's Times of India's top page. It says, top of the front page says, how India never learns.
Never.
Since 2004 to now, last 10 years you have been in power. Repeatedly there have been diplomatic faux pas. And you're trying to tell me that you want a peaceful neighborhood? Are you of the opinion that Pakistan, is going to offer you more than what we can offer Pakistan? Sir, if I can have the liberty of educating you, our GDP is 9 to 10 times bigger than Pakistan today.
Yeah.
Another 8 years, our GDP is going to be 20 times bigger than Pakistan. When we have that kind of strategic assets to us, Pakistan knows that their window to extract anything from us is going to close in the next 3 years. And you are willing to go with open arms and tell Pakistan, le lo jo chahte hai, aap le lo humse. Now, what is the reason? Why are we, except if I may be allowed to infer, that certain personal ambitions are pushing us in that direction.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry to say, sir, national interest is not about personal ambition. National interest is about public opinion. And you are not responding to public opinion. You are taking a completely different route.
I take serious offense to this. Cut it out. Cut it out. Do not mix up.
First of all, Mr. Gowda, please, accept the facts here today. It is quite clear that your government is trying to save its scheduled talks with Pakistan. 5 Indian soldiers have died, and more than just saying cut it out, you need to listen to the other side. This display of arrogance is no answer. You need to ask yourself why your government is trying to save its scheduled talks in New York. What have you achieved? Cut what out, Mr. Gowda? Cut what out? When Pakistan asked India to provide credible evidence and we did nothing, did you ask Pakistan to cut it out? When the statement of Ajmal Kasab was not accepted, did you ask them to cut it out? When Pakistan says the dossier on Hafiz Saeed is literature, not evidence, did you ask them to cut it out, Mr. Gowda? And if you didn't ask them to cut it out, then why do you want this question to be cut out, Mr. Gowda? Did you ever tell the Pakistanis to cut it out, Mr. Gowda? On each of the 4 occasions that I put to you.
Yeah,
when they put the question in Sharm el-Sheikh and they said they insisted on the inclusion of Baluchistan, did you tell the Pakistanis cut it out?
No, that's even
did you tell them to cut it out then?
Arnav, one more thing, the Congress also needs to answer one more question. In 2004, Pakistan agreed in writing to link terrorism and talks. They had specifically said that they will not allow Pakistan held portions or the areas to be used for any terrorist activity against India.
Mr. Gowda,
in Sharm el-Sheikh, we agreed to talk to Pakistan, terrorism or no terrorism.
I want to know, Mr. Gowda, it's your party President Sonia Gandhi. Your party President Sonia Gandhi has accused Pakistan of deceit. Your party President Sonia Gandhi, in a press release, in case you don't remember, has asked the government to take appropriate action. And my informed sources tell me, Mr. Gowda, that the initial comment that was to be put out by Sonia Gandhi was in fact even stronger, but they moderated it because they didn't want to embarrass the government further. Would you tell your party president to cut it out? Would you tell your party president to cut it out, Mr. Gowda?
That's a good one.
Would you tell Sonia Gandhi to cut it out,
okay.
Mr.
Absolutely
Gowda?
not. Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Thank you. Basically, there was a
well, then you shouldn't tell the other side to cut it out, because you should be aware of your own party's position, Mr. Gowda. I think that point is proven. KC Singh, where is this going?
That's all right, I am.
Okay, let him speak.
Arnav, time and again, there's been this duality in the government's approach. It's been known that this desire to have a final grand bargain with Pakistan and somehow have a final settlement of all the disputes is something which resides in Prime Minister's mind. And his advisors they go on feeding it and go on supporting it. But there is a large view in the Congress party which contradicts it. And I think the Defence Minister today stood up and really reflected that point of view. Because I have never heard any other Defence Minister stand up and say that the consequences for a behaviour on the line of control will henceforth be different. I think kudos to him. What he is telling the army is, give back as good as you get. And this is the Defence Minister of India. So it is not the opposition, it's not us in the public space. It's the Defence Minister of India who's telling the Parliament and telling the Pakistanis exactly what should have been told in the first place.
What is this new romance with Pakistan, Mr. Gowda? No, Mr. Gowda, why is this new romance with Pakistan that even your own foreign minister thinks that Hafiz Saeed does not have links with the Pakistani state? What is this new emerging?
There is a duality.
The new emerging, and if I may say, a desperate kind of romance building up, which makes your own foreign minister say that Hafiz Saeed does not have links with the Pakistani state. Have you forgotten that the Punjab government in Pakistan announced a 61 million rupee grant to the Lashkar-e-Toiba through the Jamaat-ud-Dawa? Did you tell your government then cut it out? Don't say these things, delinking the killer of 26/11 from the Pakistani state and contradicting the nation's position.
The Defence Minister, as somebody just pointed out, has drawn the red line. I think you're going to see a very, very stern relationship going forward. And let us not be warmongers. Let us try to figure out how to resolve these issues. And that's where we should be moving as the nation moves forward on this very sensitive and delicate issue.
Well, closing comments. I have 1 minute left on this debate. Yes, please. Let's get Kunal in first. Then I'll come close with you, Maru. Yes, Kunal.
So, you see, the whole business, every time something happens and there is a reaction to it, we start talking of warmongering and stuff like that. Basically, the issue is it has to be limited to the guys on the ground. The moment a guy turns around and says an incident has happened, what orders do I want? This is what they've been laughing at us for centuries. Ki tumhare orders to Delhi se aate. I mean, we have to, if Mr. Antony has said this today, this has to become the actual thing, not just something to thump tables in Parliament and say, very good, we've made a statement.
It's not about a political victory on the floor of the House.
Exactly.
It's much greater than that. Maru, what are the lessons?
Well, 3 quick points. One is that we are not saying go to war with Pakistan. All that we are saying is look at Pakistan from a realistic prism. Second point which I want to make is history has shown only when the Pakistan army has been co-opted into the dialogue process have concessions been made and which have stood the test of time. The ceasefire line agreement, the Indus Water Treaty agreement and the LOC agreement. Beyond that, if the Pakistan army is not in the loop, you can forget it, and I'm sorry to say that some of our diplomatic and bureaucratic friends will have to make space for this if you want a long-term arrangement. And third point which I want to leave behind, that I hope months and weeks down the line, we don't forget those who continue to give their life in the line of duty, because today this is big news and even politicians are narrowing themselves into the alleys where these families live. But a few weeks down the line, we will go back to arguing with each other over other larger issues. Please, please remember, the soldier on the front line needs the support of the political leadership to the last round and last minute. If you don't give him that, I think his sacrifices will go in vain.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me on debate number 1 on the Newshour tonight. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you.